Okay.
Okay, right. So we have just seen the diagram. Next to that, let me explain what do we mean by a rational agent, right? So rational agent, if you see among all the best choices, whatever we have, this rational agent will pick up the best one among all the choices, whatever is given to us, right? That is what we define as a rational agent, right? So these are the additional concepts which are linked with the concept of agent. So if you see, how do we measure the performance of an agent? Definitely there will be a performance measure, okay? Depending on the artificial intelligence problem, whatever we take in, this performance measure also may differ, or it will go along with that, right? It will tell us how far it is from the goal state, this performance measure, or it will tell us whether we really can achieve, or what is the success rate of that particular problem after taking in the input or the goal state. In between also it will tell us after taking the current state how far we are from the current state to the goal state, right? So all these things can be measured using a performance measure, right? So finally we can also tell that based on the agent's intended impact on the environment, performance metrics should be developed, right? It is not generic, like once we have a performance measure for a particular agent, that will be used for all the other agents, but according to the agent or the task given to the agent, this performance measure can vary, okay? Yeah. So related to this, we also have the concept of rationality. Rationality is, it will just tell us what are the factors that influence the behavior of a particular agent, okay? Suppose agent's logical behavior is there, what are the other factors that influence the behavior of an agent? We pretty well know, definitely the performance metric that determines the success. Then we will say the environment awareness, or how far the agent can grasp the perspectives or the thing whatever is available in the environment. Then the action that is capable of completing, and the present sequence of perceptions, okay? All these factors is definitely going to have a greater impact on the logical behavior of any agent, right? So furthermore, if you want to define, we can also define like this: agent is intended to act in a way that will maximize his performance measure for each potential perceptual sequence. What do we mean by that? Whatever the sequence is given to us, what is the sequence here? Sequence is nothing but the perception or a continuous observations whatever we have here. When that has been converted into a particular action, definitely the performance measure will go on increasing. When we have the highest performance measure, that means that we have reached the ultimate target or the aim. Right. The other things which are related to this is, we just call that to be an agent autonomy, right? Autonomy is nothing but, see, for any input given to agent, it can be a complete information or it can be only partial information, right? Suppose even if the agent is given a prior inaccurate information also, the agent should be in a position to ability to make up that incomplete and complete the task, okay? That we just call that to be agent autonomy. The next sequence or the next thing, exception he gets is the exploration. Exploration means, actually, though he has the input or the information whatever is necessary to him, agent may occasionally he has to take an action in order to gather the data or the improve the perception, okay? That particular thing we just call that to be an exploration, right? Suppose if an agent is omniscient, then no problem at all, right? He will be well aware of what are the future actions he has to perform, since he knows about the future also. But in practically, if you see, that is highly impossible, because no agent will be aware of the current, past or the future things. So dynamically, only the little things will be static. Dynamically, he may have to take the decision depending on the performance or the observations he gets in touch with, right? Related to the environment, we also need to know certain definitions, right? First is, it can be the task environment. That means that the agent is a solution to, right? The problem is given and the agent will perform a solution. It will give the solution, and that is the task given to him. The agent or the environment can be fully or partially observable also, right? See, if it is able to observe fully, that means that only less representation is needed and the success rate also will be very high. If it is only partially observable, the agent is not able to get the content and he is not able to act upon, then we will say that the success rate will be very slow, right? Even the environment can be deterministic or stochastic. right? What do we mean by the deterministic means? Definitely we will have some set of actions on the target, you can achieve that. Or strategic means except for certain things, if other agents input is also taken by the next agent, different agents input is taken into consideration, then this agent may be strategic. Okay, he may not be deterministic and he may not given the correct output there. So these are all only the basic fundamental things which you should know about the environment. Okay, nothing complex is there in this. Next is the data can be discrete or it can be continuous. We pretty well know what is discrete and what is continuous. Discrete is something which is fixed, continuous is like that you will have a continuous streaming of data, or we will have a continuous streaming of digits which is given as an input, right? Then it can be static or dynamic, right? It can be a single agent or a multiple agent. Then if you see, it can be sequential or episodic. What do we mean by sequential here is actually when the tasks are or the actions, the inputs which it takes, if the current whatever the task it is going to perform, if this output depends upon the previous task's input, that is what we say, right? So previous task input, then we say both are interdependent on each other, right? So future actions depends upon the previous actions, then we call that to be a sequential. The other state is the episodic. Episodic means it doesn't depend upon the previous action itself, right? It is not it is it doesn't care what actually is done in the previous step. Invariant of whatever may be the outcome of the previous step, the episodic environment will just take in the current action, it tries to perform that, it will give you the output, right? So when we define about the environment, ensure that you are familiar with all these keywords like episodic or sequential, static or dynamic, discrete, continuous, simple or single agent, and then a multiple agent, right? Yeah, some more definitions we have tried to list out here. So first is a very simple definition, then we have two more definitions also. So if at all you want to define it, I already told you, agent we can just call that to be a simple element that is present in a system or any environment which triggers some action, right? That definition you can give. If at all needed, you can also tell in this way. An agent is a persistent software entity dedicated to a specific purpose. Okay, specific purpose in the sense it is not going to be generic. Okay, whatever the problem it takes in, only that specific it does that specific task and it will give you the output in the same way. So two more definitions are there, you can just have a reading of that, it will be useful for a better understanding of the concepts. So next thing related to the agent is we can just tell it is a goal driven agent. So we pretty well know what do we mean by a goal, right? See, any AI problem structure we taken, an input will be given, right? Then the target or the output will be given, right? So what are the states that takes us from input to output, right? That we just call that to be a production rules. We pretty well know. See, when solving water jug problem or any AA problem you take in, we can even solve games like, see, whatever the problems which involves intelligence, we just call them to be AA related problems, right? Because the basic difference between the system and a human being, we tell that human being can think, right? Human being can exhibit intelligence, whereas the mammals or the animals cannot exhibit that, or the system also cannot exhibit that, right? That is a major difference between us. So whenever we talk of artificial intelligence, we only take the problems into consideration which needs intelligence, okay, which needs brain involvement, which needs a person to be intelligent, right? So example like chess playing game or tic-tac-toe game, anything which involves intelligence, we put it as an AA problem, right? While solving an AA problem like chess game or tic-tac game or any game we take in there, what should we do? The input will be decided there, the output also will be given there. Those problems it comes under goal driven agents. Okay, so once the agent is aware what is his target, right, he tries to take the steps according to that. How he is going to take the steps, that is decided by the various production rules given to solve that particular problem. In other words, we can say that from input to output, we will just have a state space representation. If the problem is very simple, directly he will achieve it within less time complexity and the space complexity. If the problem is more complex, then under that state space representation, he will use either the uninformed search, he will use the various search techniques, right? He will just use the